Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox. I'm the Compliance Evangelist, and I'd like to welcome you to an exciting new podcast series, Popcorn and Compliance at the Movies with Tom Fox and Jay Rosen. In this podcast series, Jay and I are going to take a look at movies, both classic and contemporary movies for compliance lessons, business lessons, leadership lessons, and life lessons. This podcast series is a new offering from the Compliance Podcast Network. And today it is sponsored by One Stone Creative.
If you are enjoying this show, you might enjoy hosting your own. As an expert in your field, you have skills, knowledge, and insight that can help you expand your practice, meet new people, and create amazing content to share with the world. In as little as 2 hours a week, you can dramatically change how you promote, fill, and position your business. And One Stone Creative can show you how. Learn more at onestonecreative.net.
In this introductory 5-part, 1-week podcast series, Jay and I take a look at the intersection of Star Wars and compliance. This is truly one of our favorite movie series, and I know that you will enjoy it too, as Jay and I take a look at how Star Wars, the movies, can inform your compliance program. Popcorn and Compliance is a new offering of the Compliance Podcast Network. Today, we take a look at Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Jay, I would set the stage just a little bit by noting this is my personal favorite of the original 3 movies. But why don't you set the stage, and then we can see what compliance lessons might be learned from this.
Sure. In Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader pursues the rebels to the ice planet of Hoth. While investigating a potential meteor strike, Luke Skywalker is captured by a Wampa, a Yeti-like creature. The Force ghost of his late mentor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, instructs Luke to go to Dagobah system to train under Jedi Master Yoda. On patrol, Han and Chewbacca discover a probe droid which alerts the Empire to the rebels' secret location. The Empire launches a large-scale attack using 8 AT-AT walkers to capture the base. Despite great resistance, the walkers destroy the base's shield generator and force the rebels to retreat. Han and Leia escape on the Millennium Falcon along with C-3PO and Chewbacca. Luke, meanwhile, escapes with R2-D2 and crash lands on the swamp planet. Yoda reluctantly accepts Luke as his student and trains Luke in the arts of being a Jedi. Han and Leia escape and head to the Cloud City, Bespin, run by Han's friend Lando Calrissian. Unfortunately, the Falcon is being tracked by Boba Fett, Jango's revenge-seeking son, who alerts Vader what's going on. Leia is captured and Han is frozen in carbonite so Boba Fett can take him to Jabba the Hutt. In another switch of allegiance, Lando turns against the Empire and helps Leia escape. Luke stops his training with Yoda and faces off against Darth Vader in a lightsaber duel over the city's central air shaft. Vader severs Luke's right hand, causing him to lose his weapon. After Luke refuses to join Vader against the Emperor, Vader reveals to Luke that he is his father. Horrified by the truth, Luke intentionally down into a never-ending air shaft. Luke is ejected beneath the city and makes a telepathic plea to his sister. Luke is ejected beneath the floating city and makes a telepathic plea to Leia, who senses it and persuades Lando to return to him to the Falcon. Later, aboard a medical frigate in a rebel fleet, Luke's severed hand is replaced with a robotic prosthetic. Lando and Chewbacca set off for Tatooine and the Millennium Falcon to find Jabba the Hutt and Boba Fett to save Han.
So it was a great recitation, Jay. The line, "I am your father," is probably my favorite line in the entire Star Wars oeuvre. So really enjoyed this movie. And I want to use it, though, to talk about levels of due diligence. And here I'm going to lean on our good friend Candace Towle, the founder and chief executive officer of Infertile Worldwide, who helped me really formulate my understanding of levels of due diligence, which I break out as 3 levels. Level 1 is typically consists of checking individual names and company names through global watch lists comprised of anti-money laundering, sanctions list, and other financial corruption and criminal databases. It's really a first-level screening tool to detect potential red flags. Level 2 encompasses supplementing a Level 1 due diligence with a deeper screening of international media, typically the major newspapers and periodicals from the countries, plus detailed internet searches. Such inquiries often reveal other forms of corruption-related information and may expose undisclosed or hidden information about the company. This is usually done through an in-country database search, so that you're looking at social media, you're looking at media searches, you're looking at in-country corporate records, in-country lawsuit filings. Typically, you will have a due diligence service provider who can have access to those companies' records, either by having a resource on the ground or through another means. Also, and probably to warm your heart a little bit, it may require some translations of documents if they're not in English. And level 3 is really a deep dive. I call it a in-country boots on the ground investigation. It's designed to supply your company with a comprehensive analysis of all available public records, but more than simply public records, it's supplemented with detailed field intelligence to identify known and unknown conditions. It's certainly going to require an in-person interview of the proposed counterparty, third party, whoever it may be, but also interviews with people that do business with them, people who know them, their bankers, their lawyers, people listed in media reports. So levels 1, 2, and 3, you gauge the level based upon the risk you are coming up against, or your preliminary due diligence has given you your risk level. This is critical for any best practices compliance program. And I thought about how this relates to The Empire Strikes Back in two ways. One is if Luke or the rebellion had done any due diligence, they would have known Darth Vader was his father. A little bit deeper dive goes to the question that, or at least the point you raised, which is when Luke telepathically communicates with Leia. Now it's clear that that was his sister. And it was not clear that they were brother and sister before then, but I think anyone who was watching recognized that Leia had some connection to Luke Skywalker that was more than just a good friend and colleague. So really interesting way to consider due diligence. I hope that people listening will understand these three levels and go forward with them. So what were your thoughts?
I think you make great points there, Tom. And, you know, a lot of times your characters in a movie don't do due diligence because part of their diligence is what they learn along the way in the journey of the hero. So, you know, in terms of how you write a film or how you tell a story, that due diligence particularly happens along the way. So I think both the points about Luke and Leia, and also, you know, Darth Vader about doing the due diligence and knowing about who Darth Vader was and the capabilities of the Death Star. I think this episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, provides wonderful examples of both.
Well, Jay, it's been a fascinating exploration of episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Thanks again, and I hope everyone will join us tomorrow, where we take a look at episode 6, The Return of the Jedi, in our
5-part podcast series.
If you have listened to this podcast on iTunes, I would greatly appreciate it if you would rate us, as it would help in our rankings. Also, if you have any questions, you can email me at tfox@tfoxlaw.com. You can email Jay at jrosen@affiliatedmonitors.com.
At The Return of the Jedi and a Good Final Result. Popcorn and Compliance is a presentation of the Compliance Podcast Network.